Hi, Ritu. Oh my God,
Hi.
I'm so excited to have you on Keeping You.
I am too.
And I've seen her even when she was in her mom's tummy. So I can't even believe that I'm going to be talking to you,
I
interview
know.
on my podcast,
I'm
girl.
so excited.
So, but I do want to share a little bit about her, and I will let her share about herself to you. Rithika to me is who's really a person who incredibly good at just go getter. She just goes, she gets what she wants, and she's now gone through your high school journey,
Yeah.
and she made to Ross Business School, guys. Let's know more about her. So
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, starting off, Shruthi Auntie is like a second mother to me. I've been in this house so many times. I've grown up in this house. And so it's really exciting to see how far she's come. I think having your own podcast, creating something so special for everyone to learn and grow is amazing. So I'm excited to be here, and I'm excited to tell you guys a little bit more about myself. So as Shruthi Auntie said, my name is Rithika Aytha. And so in high school, I think I had a lot of ups and downs, and I think that's what that journey is all about, knowing how to, when you're at your highest highs, knowing how to pursue all those, everything that's coming at you, and then when you're at your lows, figuring out how to climb. So in high school, I was a very huge part of DECA. DECA was important to me. I was VP of corporate relations, so that meant reaching out to a lot of different sponsors that we have and a lot of different business partners, and making sure that we're strengthening those business partnerships and like getting our money and funding from it. That was like a huge part of my responsibility in DECA. And outside of that, I also played a really big part in a nonprofit called Charms for Change. I was a founder of this nonprofit. And so, as many of you guys know, there was a shooting at MSU. And so, my sister went to MSU. And so, that was a point in my life where I was scared if she was even going to make it out. And because of that, I wanted to do something to stop gun violence. So, me and my friends started printing out these 3D charms. And so, with each 3D charm that got sold, we would send an email to a state senator saying that people care about this issue. And so we actually ended up changing 3 bills. And so one was the red flag, one was safe storage, and there was another bill that got passed in Senate. And so it was really cool to see
that's
that change.
amazing.
Yeah, and it
Oh
was
my
super
God.
cool to see that change. And those were probably my two biggest accomplishments in high school that really gave me the power of like, even though I'm one person, I can do so much, and I have so much like capabilities. So yeah.
Oh my God. I know there are so many parents out there kept asking, including me, although my son went to high school and he's done, he transitioned from high school to college. I still don't know so many things about them. He doesn't talk. I mean, if you ask me, how was your day? That's the answer. I'm like, what do I understand from that, So for all the parents and my friends kept asking me, can you bring somebody in to talk about what happens in the high school? How do I prepare? So this is for you all. So tell me about it. Let's get started. What's this one thing about high school that nobody warned you about?
Yeah. I think no one really warns you about the pressure that you face. So as a kid, and especially me being an Indian kid growing up in an Indian community, there's so much pressure to do better. And so maybe I got a 95 on a test, but the question is, why didn't you get 100? And so I think that concept of pressure is really big, and no one ever warned me about it, because in middle school it was like, oh, you just need to do well enough. And as soon as high school kids like kicks in, it's college. And for you to get into a good college, that pressure is always there, like watching over you.
Wow. So if you could go back and tell yourself one thing of your first day of freshman year,
Yeah.
what would it be?
I think in the hindsight of things, like obviously everything matters, but I am like a huge overthinker. So I thought like getting a bad test or like doing bad in a certain class was the end of it all, like end all be all. And looking back, like I don't even remember what I did, like what bad classes I did, like I don't remember. So I think just take a step back and calm down. Like I think a huge part of like high school was like, it's really not that deep. And I think like as a college student saying this, like looking back on high school, I'm just like, the biggest piece of advice I would give myself is just take a step back, breathe. It's all going to be okay, because one test score is not going to be the end of it all.
That's a good one. So what's something you struggled with something that you felt, I'm the only one?
Yeah. So again, I went to Novi High School. So this was a place where a lot of people are very smart and a lot of people get the grasp of things very easily. And for me, I think I need to study very hard to become the level of like someone that doesn't have to study at all. And so that's something I really struggled with, was imposter syndrome, where I was like, everyone around me is so smart. Like, why can't I just be book smart? Why can't I just do this? But I realized that I have other strengths that aren't just book smarts. Like, if I want to go do something, I'm going to go do that. Like how Auntie said, like the Charms for Change initiative was a huge thing for me, because I realized that, yeah, maybe other people's strengths lie in book smarts, but my strengths lie somewhere else. And just utilizing those strengths is like the biggest part. Realizing what you're good at and focusing on that and honing in on that is like the biggest part.
How did you realize your strength, and how did you know that, okay, this is what I need to be doing? I need to bring my strength out,
Yeah.
and this is going to help me become that unique person that you really wanted to be.
Yeah, I mean, I think at the end of the day, like, you need to believe in yourself. That's the only way you can get anywhere in life, is for you to believe in yourself. And there's a trial and error in everything. Like Instagram, they had 1,000 fails before they actually had something that hit. So that's why you have to keep trying, you have to keep pushing, and 1,000 things will fail, but one thing will stick, and that one thing could be the $1 million idea. So I think believing in yourself and keep pushing and keep motivating and keep trying is the biggest tip.
That's very well said. And, you know, I always say this to both my kids. I don't know how much they hear me, but Thomas Edison, if he failed 10,000 times before he
Exactly.
could find the
The
solution for the
idea.
light bulb, right?
Yeah,
So it's important for you to realize that failures is not a setback.
yeah,
It's a step forward.
exactly.
Okay. So what's the biggest lie or myth about a high school that adults tell students?
Biggest lie or myth? That's an interesting question. I have to think on that.
Do we have a myth about the high school that, you know, again, right? Some of we immigrant parents, we
Yeah.
didn't go to high school over here.
Yeah.
So we keep giving you some, you know, I would say, I don't know if I want to call it ideas, but forcing you to, you got to do this way, you got to do that way, you're going to get better, you got to
Yeah.
get better. Is that a myth?
So, okay, so I think there's two parts to that question. The first part is there a lie or myth that I think like most high schoolers don't know about? And I would say like the biggest like misconception about high school is that like you're not allowed to have fun. And a lot of people, a lot of parents, a lot of people are like, oh, like you went out on Friday, you can't go out on Saturday. And I think like my parents said that too. But
Yeah.
for me, I like if like a student knows what they want to achieve, and they're not going to go out if they know they're not prepared for this exam or prepared for this project, they're not going to go out. So I think the biggest misconception is like kids not like parents thinking that kids don't know it themselves. So I think a lot of parents are like, oh, like you're not allowed to have fun in high school. But honestly, no, now being in college, high school was the one time I was allowed to have fun, because college is so much work. I have to get an internship, I have to get a job, I have to do all my classes, and there's so much more pressure in college. And so in high school, I thought there was so much pressure, but now looking back, I'm like, I wish I had more fun in high school, because yeah, I mean,
but I would say have fun, but again, go back to
balance to
there's a
everything.
balance.
There's a balance to everything, for sure.
So was there a change in your friendship from the freshman to your senior year?
Yeah. I mean, I'm honestly so lucky to have had the same best friends from 6th grade to now in college.
Awesome. Yeah.
So my entire friend group, they're like my 3 best friends, and we all went from middle school to high school to college together, and I'm so
awesome.
grateful for that.
Yeah.
And no friendship breakups, nothing like that. However, I will say, I think the people you surround yourself with in high school plays a really important part in who you become as a person. I think a lot of people are like, oh, if there's one rotten egg, then the entire dozen of eggs gets rotten. And I think that's very true. Like, if you have one like bad sorry, I don't know what I'm saying.
Whatever.
Bad apple, not like if you have a bad like person that is like forcing you, like peer pressuring you to do things, like all of that, like it's very easy to fall into peer pressure when you're a kid. And so for me, because I surrounded myself with such hardworking individuals, it made me want to work harder. And
That's
so
awesome.
I think
Yeah.
that played like a really big part into who I am today. And I'm super grateful for my friends.
That's so awesome. So when did you stop caring about what everyone thinks about you?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I think that's a hard thing for me to do. Like, to even today, I think it's hard for me to be like, I don't care
Yeah, I
about
was gonna
what.
say, like, are you still figuring that out?
Yeah,
Or are you like,
I think I definitely still am figuring that out. I
Okay.
think, especially being at such a prestigious like school, it's hard for me to be like, I don't care what this person thinks about me, because like I do at the end of the day. And honestly, everyone's opinions is what made me like a better person, I think.
Right.
When I hear feedback from someone, I try to act on that feedback. And so I
But
think
you do validate which one to take
take in
on
and which ones to
versus which
take
one to
out.
just, yeah.
Exactly. And I think honestly social media has a
Right.
huge part of that,
Yeah.
because social media nowadays has become such a toxic and negative space where
Right.
people are like always comparing themselves, and people are like trying to get this unrealistic life, and that's never going to happen. And
Right.
so I think just knowing that feedback is always important and knowing when to take in what is
Right.
huge.
That's awesome. So if you could give advice to incoming freshmen, what would you tell them?
Yeah. I think one of my biggest pieces of advice would be know how to goal set properly.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people say this unachievable goal of like, oh, I want to lose 20 pounds. And
Mm,
how are you going to lose that 20 pounds without breaking that goal down? So
right.
what I've learned is like, you want to do a small goal and you want to
Mm-hmm.
do that every single day. So if your small goal is, I want to walk 5,000 steps every single day,
Mm-hmm.
and you actually stick to it and you do it in more swallowable, like smaller pieces, that's how you are going to actually achieve your goals. So you can't just come in with this huge, like, I want to lose 20 pounds. You have to go, okay, in a week, I want to lose 1 pound. And every day, I want to walk 5,000 steps. And every 5 hours, I only want to eat one meal. If you break it into smaller pieces, that's the only way you're going to achieve your goal. And I wish I knew how to properly goal set freshman year, but I think now as a sophomore in college, I've really accomplished this and achieved this, and I know how to properly goal set, and that's why I know that I'm actually achieving all my goals. And I think heading into this new year as well, I'm definitely going to make a list of 3 to 4 goals that are actually achievable for me and I know that are attainable.
That is so very well said. And I think that's not just applicable for the schools or the students.
Yeah.
It's applicable for us today too.
Yeah.
You can have an audacious goal without having your smaller steps to get to that
Exactly.
audacious goal, right?
Yeah.
So what's one thing you wish your parents knew about handling teenage stress? and the biggest struggle back then, right? I mean, which you think like, could have helped you
Yeah.
if your parents were different in
Yeah.
understanding you. I mean, I think this is a question for me too. I don't know if I know that yet.
Yeah.
So it's all for all of us.
Everyone, yeah. I mean, I will say I love my mom and dad so much, and I think they did it
I love them too.
I think they did such a great job of like handling my stress, because I think like they would always tell me these stories in India where like they didn't have the same type of stress we do. They had
Yeah.
way different types of
Right.
stresses.
Right.
And so for them to kind of like understand like what I was going through and help me through that was like honestly vital to my development as a kid. And I think a lot of parents need to realize like that our stresses are going to be so much more different to your stresses, and you can't compare them. Like you can't compare how like, oh, we used to walk 10,000 steps on hills and through the rains, like
right.
like I think ours is a very like mental stress while you guys had physical stress.
Right.
And so I think my parents honestly did a great job at like very quickly and early on, like knowing that I am like an overthinker, I'm a stress ball. And so they knew that from me, and they gave me everything I needed right away.
Right.
And so whether that was their comfort, whether I had to cry in their arms, whether I just like needed a day off and they needed to call the school and be like, hey, she's sick, like they knew what I needed.
Right.
And I'm super grateful. I'm super grateful for my parents. And so I think like the biggest thing is like kind of knowing what your kid needs, like asking them, talking to them, being open to communication, because obviously like there's so many first generation parents like here, and I think it's really hard to like make that switch of like, my kid is not me. They're growing up in a different environment.
Yeah.
And so like there's going to be different challenges and struggles that come with that, and it's super important to understand that.
That's so well said. And I don't know if I have a one formula applies to every kid
Exactly.
either. So as you said, you really need to understand what your kid
Mhm.
personality is,
Yeah.
and work around that.
Yeah.
Maybe your parents can educate everybody.
Yeah, bring them in on this podcast.
Bring them on this podcast. So what's the biggest cultural shock between high school to college, that transition for you?
Yeah. So I think for me, it wasn't that big because
Mhm.
I came from an area with so many brown kids, and I went to a college where 200 kids from my high school also came
brown
to the
kids,
University
okay.
of Michigan. However, one of my best friends in college now, Shreya, she's from California.
Okay.
And so I hear a lot of her thoughts about like, she's like, this is so different. I've never had this many Indian friends. I've never,
Wow.
like, I was never, my best friends were white. And so she had such a big cultural shock of like, I didn't know that like this many brown people in an area was possible.
Mm.
But however, with that comes the stress of like, obviously brown people are smart. We know that. We all know that. And so with that, you're like, so these kids are so smart. Like I need to keep up with it. And so my entire life, I think I've already been doing that. So I'm like kind of like scheduled to it. I already have like experienced that. I've already like experienced that. But to her, she's like, wow, this is such a change.
Wow.
And so,
okay.
yeah, I think
So it's different for
it's
depending
different
on like
for,
where you're from and how
exactly.
you're okay. So help me understand, why did you choose Ross Business School?
Yeah. So I think my entire life, like business has always been like a hindsight. Like
Yeah.
I was selling lemonade as a kid. I was selling slime as a kid. Like
Mm.
everything I was doing always led to business. When I played volleyball, I was the finance chair. When I did student council, I was like the finance chair. I always knew that I wanted to choose business, and I didn't know what I really wanted to do in business.
Right.
So I think I obviously applied to all these business schools.
Have you figured that out now?
Yeah, I think I did. So I think after like always like having like a business idea, having an idea and being like, this is what I want to do, this is the problem I want to solve, I realized that that's my role. I want to be a problem solver. And so that really fits like hand in hand with consulting. And so
you know your dad is too good in it.
Yeah, he is.
Okay.
But yeah, following right under his footsteps.
Oh my God, he's an amazing.
I think I do want to go consulting. So either like MBB, which is McKinsey, Bain, BCG,
Right.
or the big four, EY, Deloitte, PwC. I think like that's where I want to be headed. And I do want like a taste of that corporate world, but I don't want that to be my life. I think I want to do a few years in New York or Chicago and get a feel for the big cities. And then from the projects that I've worked on, whether that be automotive, whether that be energy, like
whatever.
any industry,
Yeah.
figure out like a problem in that specific solution and come up with my own startup, come up with my own idea. And
I love it.
Yeah, that's probably what I want to do in the future.
That's awesome. Maybe you need to have a taste of AI too in it.
Yeah. Oh my God. Don't get me
it's all
started
about
on
AI. So let me ask you this. Does AI has changed anything on how you learn things?
Absolutely.
How?
I think AI is an amazing tool.
Yeah.
However, I think a lot of people haven't been like utilizing it as a tool, more of like a cheating scandal.
Right.
So I think AI obviously helps you like read these really big articles or create these big study guides, and that's really cool. But then a lot of kids forget how to read. They forget how to annotate passages. They forget how to like actually use their literary skills. Yeah. And so like even my like younger cousins, like she's 11 years old and she's using AI for her math homework, where it's like I don't think the younger generations are understanding how developmental their life is right now. And so they're in such a phase where like they need to learn how to do these without AI, and having access to these tools is honestly like,
so that'll kind of deteriorate or degrade the way, or like opportunity for you to develop your brain
Yeah.
power, right?
Yeah.
And analytical skills.
Yeah.
All of that will be just
Gone.
It's gone.
It's
And
gone.
it's scary in a way to me
Yeah.
right now.
And
All
honestly,
right.
like the talk of the town right now at the Raw School of Business, like at the school of, well, at the Raw School of Business, is that AI is going to take all of our jobs. Like that's,
Do you really feel that?
I don't see, like everyone is just like, they're going to be jobless. Everyone's going to be jobless because AI is this like ever evolving, like it keeps turning into something bigger and better and greater. And you're scared. Like you're scared that you can be replaced and it costs them $0 where you cost them $100K a year.
But you know, that is too early to say.
Yes,
I would
for
say.
sure, for sure.
For me, the way I would look at it is, it's going to bring forth a new type of jobs that you have not, even imagined today.
Yeah.
But you don't know yet.
Yeah.
So
That's
I
very
wouldn't
true.
believe that it's going to take away all that. The random or repetitive or manual extensive, some of those things maybe make sense,
Yeah.
but not in its entirety, in my view.
That's very true.
All right, so let's talk about what would you say to your younger self, knowing what you know today? That how do these kids need to be well prepared in preparing themselves in the high school, the college app preparation, right? Because even though my son Adi went through, I still don't know, to be honest.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So what's the college preparation mean?
Yeah.
And what are these college apps, and how do people figure that out? And what do they need to know? Because I've been hearing that we need to have a lot of volunteering. Is that really true? Or what is that skill set other than academics that kid need to be having?
Yeah.
Which is what I would like to know more about.
Yeah, absolutely. So in my eyes, the college application is split into 4 segments. So the first one is academics, so GPA, and that's like the first one. Second one would be SAT, and then ACT, and I think a lot of more kids are leaning towards SAT right now, even though it's online. I think colleges also prefer seeing SAT. And then the third one would be essays. So your essays, people think they don't matter, but I think it really just shows yourself, like on a page. Like it gives the colleges like this
an
is
opportunity
her story.
to know you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so essays, and then the fourth one would be extracurriculars. So that would count in like volunteering or DECA or clubs or anything of that sort. So those are the 4 main things that colleges look at.
So the extracurricular, let's look at that aspect of it. When you look at that, say the kids are volunteering in 2 or 3 places. Is that sufficient?
So I don't think quantity matters. I think quality matters. I think a huge part of it is like, who are you as a person, and why did you choose to volunteer at Red Cross? Why did you choose to volunteer at Blueprints for Pangea? Like, why did you do this? And so for me, for example, like I had this story of like, I did DECA because I wanted to give a lot of kids around me the opportunity to pursue like internship opportunities or shadowing opportunities. And I gave a lot of kids, like at our corporate partners, I gave a lot of kids internships from like the surrounding areas. And so from there, like my entire story became, I wanted to help people. And so that was clear through Charms for Change. And then I also volunteered at Youth for Haven, which kind of helped anyone that has been like sexually assaulted. Like it gives them a home to like better themselves for a little bit, just to get back on their feet. And so my entire story became helping people around me. And so that was in multiple different avenues. However, like my main story and my essay tied it back to my purpose in life is that I want to help people around me. And so beautiful. I think if you're going to go like do volunteering at like a soup kitchen and then you're going to go do you have to tie it all into one story. Right. That showcase who you are as a person. And what's your core beliefs are. Exactly. Oh my God, this is so powerful. If you didn't enjoy, I can't even tell you. I feel like I got so much information today. I'm so glad. Then I think I know a little bit more how to handle my Riddhi. I'm here for this too. So I do want to repeat a few things, summarize it. Yes. So I think for the parents who are watching this, what Ritu just talked about,
Rithika, but I do call her Ritu. So what she just talked about is like 4 parts. One is academics, second is your SAT and or ACT, but many people choose SAT. And the third part of it is part of the pie is essay. Essay is most important, is what I heard. The weightage of the essay is higher than the other.
I would say they're all equal.
They're all equal.
I think 25, 25, 25, 25.
They're all equal. And comes to the fourth part, volunteering. I know we all crazy, including me. I'm like, Ruthie, can you do this volunteering? You gotta do volunteering. Come on, do this. But what I learned today talking to you is like, it has to have some meaning to it. It has to connect back to the person who you are and what your belief system is. So those 4 parts coming together, and probably use that fourth one, the volunteering piece, in how you build your essay.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right?
That'll
tell
main
you
part
who
of
you
it.
are.
Exactly.
Perfect.
Yeah.
So that is the whole 4 part that'll help you to take any kind of higher colleges that you want to.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sky's the limit for you.
Exactly. Right? Sky's the limit for everyone. I think
Awesome.
everyone can reach the sky.
Awesome. I just love this conversation. So anything, the last words for the audience?
I would say just believe in yourself. If you believe in yourself, you can do anything.
I love it. Believe in yourself, guys. With that, thank you so much, Ritu, for being here.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited. Happy New Year's.
Happy New Year.